guys, welcome back to my channel. I am playing in my planners today and I wanted you to join me with a little bit of rhythm music. I just want to talk to you guys, see how you're doing, and while I film a little plan with me, I wanted to see if we could do a voiceover and just chat and see how you guys are doing. I miss you so much and I've had a wonderful weekend with my husband. We went to the sand dunes and we enjoyed that little vacation. Even though it rained on us, we still made the most of it. And while I am playing in my A7 and my A6 planner, and I do jump into my goal planner this week, I wanted to go ahead and do a voiceover, catch up, have so much fun talking to you guys. I feel like I don't get enough time to talk to you guys, so while I'm filming this little update and plan with me, please get your drinks, your planners, your coloring crayons, whatever it is you need to sit down and let's just have such a wonderful time playing in our notebooks together. All right, let's go. So while I am pulling apart pieces of my A6 planner in my Moterm white rings, which I love so much, I've been really enjoying jumping back and forth from the A6 planner to the A7 planner to my goal planner, which, please excuse me, after I filmed this video, I don't know where I tucked away my goal planner. Okay, let's circle back. So this week, I wanted to tell you guys how everything's been going. I wanted you guys to catch up with me. I really enjoyed this video. I had a lot of time setting this up quietly and just not having to talk over this entire video while I'm actually trying to focus on what my plans are for the week. I think I'm going to be doing videos like this more often, so let me know what you think. Give me a big thumbs up. That does let me know. I did experience a little bit of anxiety at work on Monday this week. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just too much caffeine or something, but I was not feeling myself. So I went ahead and connected back to my faith for like a half an hour. And that really put me back into who I am and just put me forward in the day to turn it around, turn the mood around from Mondays. Sometimes we get the Monday blues. I usually try not to work on Mondays, especially because of that. There's so many weird statistics saying that there's a lot of incidents that happen and more mistakes and things happen on Mondays because people are all jumping back into work and nobody really feels good. So after this month of May, I decided that I am no longer going to be working on Mondays for this reason. I used to be like this. I used to always have my Mondays off anyways, and it helps me just to reset my life and get me back into planning and get me ready for the week ahead. I don't mind working on Tuesday, but for some reason, Mondays just cause me a little bit of anxiety. How about you guys? What do you think about that? I also enjoyed some iced coffee on this day. It was really nice and warm outside, so I decided to change my coffee routine. I usually use a hot beverage to make my coffee, but this day I decided to go ahead and try some homemade iced coffee. It was so good, and just journal out my feelings. I also printed off some photos. I don't really remember doing this. I have this written down in my memory keeping notebook. I did print off photos. What on earth I did with them, I don't know. I think I just printed off some really cute ephemera and maybe threw it into one of my rings. Maybe it'll come up in this video. I don't know. We're going to find out. But on Tuesday, I went and visited two of my really close clients that I've taken care of for about 3 years. And I wanted to make sure everyone was doing okay. I had a very busy week. I have to plan for my clients. I have to make sure that I'm advocating for their care, making sure that they're getting everything they need, and making sure that if they need something like going to a doctor's appointment, I really need to make sure that I can get them there, make sure their appointment's ready for them, make sure their insurance is covered. Now, this isn't my full-time job. This is a job on Tuesdays that I do solely for these clients I've taken care of for years. I am their care advocate. This is not something I charge expensive amounts for. I do this for very few people who probably don't have a lot of people in their corner caring for them. So I started up my own care advocate business, and that's what I do on Tuesdays. I take care of these people. Then I also have one of the neighbor people. I cut his hair because his hair grows so fast and he likes to keep it sweet and short, so I do cut his hair on like once every 3 or 4 weeks. We got behind because I just couldn't catch up with him with all the rush of the springtime and everyone's going here and there and everywhere. I just didn't get to catch up with him, so I was a little bit behind on his haircut, so I wanted to make sure I got that done. And then on Wednesday, I did get an extra day off. I was so happy. I got to take a nap. Does anybody else just love taking their naps? I have to record this in my notebooks when I take a nap, because if I don't, I know that it's missing or I haven't taken my nap, which means I'm probably really ornery. And because I'm neurodivergent, naps are so important to my health in my weeks, so I have to make sure that I get a nap in. Well, on Wednesday I did that, and I ended up watching another Alison Armstrong interview from the Nothing Left Unsaid YouTube podcast channel. It was so cool, moving. I love Alison Armstrong. She is the writer of The Queen's Code. If you haven't heard of her, please check her out. She does talk a lot about masculine and feminine people and how we can balance out our lives and help our relationships. So she's wonderful to read. She's wonderful to listen to. So that's what I ended up doing after my nap on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, I just really geared myself towards work. I worked an 8 to 5 shift. That's a very long day for me. And these days are coming to an end because my schedule is going to be changing next week. So I want to make sure that even though I'm working these hours, that I'm taking care of myself. I'm also putting in these hours so I can pay off some debt. So Thursday was all geared towards work and my wonderful caregiving ethics. Same as Friday, but the difference between Thursday and Friday is I did get a couple hours in the morning. I went ahead and packed and got myself ready because I was traveling to see my sister because she was going to graduate this weekend. I did end up traveling to see her. She lives about 3 hours from where I live. So I went ahead and packed my bags Friday night, got myself put together, went to bed bright and early, got up and headed over to see her and our extended family who was here to visit on Saturday morning. It was so much fun. She did have a setup, like a little balloon arch, which I've never set up before. Have you guys done that? It is not easy. It is quite time consuming, and being in the sun that whole day was like, wow, that was a lot of energy. You guys wouldn't think that the sun would zap you, but it sure does. So on this day, I got to see her. I got to see my grandmother, my brother, his wife, my other brother and his wife, and all my wonderful nephews and my one beautiful niece. I felt like such a spoiled aunt this day. It was so fun. And at her party, we had a full island in my brother and his wife's house, and that was covered in food. And we had one little part where it was just 2026, Mackenzie and her cute photos from over the years, from when she was really young to when she started becoming a young adult. It was so beautiful. And then we had a station. You guys are totally gonna love this. We had a station where we could basically go over to this table, sit down. There's stickers all over the place. There's photos of Mackenzie throughout her ages and with her friends, with her family, through Halloween days, prom nights, all of the things. And you could just sit there and use a scrapbook paper and put together pieces of her scrapbook, leave her a really cute note because she's graduating. So this was going to be her graduating notebook, her send-off scrapbook, so to speak. It was so fun. You guys would have loved it. I wish you could have seen, and I wish I would have took more pictures. But hey, we're here catching up. Let me get a sip of my coffee. Please do the same. After I did the scrapbooking, you go outside to the back patio, and there's like a little place you could sit out of the sun that was really cozy, and people were sitting there, and it was covered in these little like shade where you can still see out of the netting of this, what would you call it, like a canopy, but it makes it so the bugs can't get in when you're trying to eat and enjoy each other's company. That was a cute little setup. Then they had a basketball court on the left hand side of my brother's yard, and then on to the right is where you do the photo shoot with my sister and her beautiful balloon arch. I believe she had pink, yellow, and like a little off-white ivory color balloon. It was so cute. I'll try to insert a photo if I can right here. We had so much fun. I just can't believe how wonderful it was to celebrate my little sister as she graduates into adulthood and becomes a young woman. It was a wonderful weekend, and I'm so grateful I got to go and visit with my family. So if we're jumping back into my goal planner, I'm just doing a brain dump in this section because I was feeling like overwhelmed, so I wanted to make sure everything on my mind and in my list was getting out on paper. So then I jump into setting up the weeks in my monthly, which I haven't done in a couple weeks. So this is still jumping back into this. I have to take a lot of account for changes in my life. I switched to a new job this month. I have a lot of learning curve to go through still, and I'm still trying to figure out what's the best way to go about creating my goals and trying not to overwhelm myself at the same time, and also settling into my new job. So I found also my planner was in my purse that I had taken to visit my sister. I did end up using it more than what's filmed here. I used it during work hours when I had a little bit of downtime. I used it on breaks when I was visiting my sister. So I did jump back into this. I think I ended up, my last page that I filled out this week was my Thursday page, and then I ended up leaving it behind by accident in my purse for like 3 days. But I found my goal planner, and I'm looking at it now so I can update you here. But I do fill out my schedule, and then what I try to do is, usually in my goal planner, I try to figure out my goals and where I could schedule them. So this week, if I'm turning to the right page to make sure we can update you here, I put housekeeping, chores, train one of the girls at work. I did a leg workout, and I did a little tracker. I made sure I was doing my workout, getting enough water, taking my vitamins, and if I had an energy drink, I was tracking that as well because I'm trying not to have them as much as I was. So luckily I only had it once this week, so those trackers are super helpful to make me stay on track with my goals. I think the trackers are only used in my goal planner. I don't use them very often in my other planners because one of them's mostly for strictly planning and dailies, and the other one's more for like a catch-all of anything that's on my mind. So that's kind of how I use those interchangeably. And I am sporadic with my plans. I don't always stay into one planner at a time. You'll see me switch here. I'm gonna switch in and out of each book. I have my A6, I have my A7, and I have my goal planner. I also have my Hobonichi weeks, but I haven't used that in a while. But yes, this is my planning ecosystem, and I'm thinking I should probably film an update very soon on that. So yeah, I ended up also putting a list down for my incoming mail. I did my brain dump, and I add a little bit of charm to that. Monday, I was thinking a lot about self-parenting and how I appeal to my better nature. Because I was having that bit of anxiety, I did journal out a little bit of inner work that day in my goal planner. And then come Tuesday, I really deep dive into so many more ideas on my goals, which includes my work, my home, my spiritual, personal planning, me, and my wifehood. And then I did a little bit of like themes for my faith also on in my goal journal. What can I do to fortify my energy and my faith, and how do I get the good counsel that I'm looking for and that connection with my faith? And then on Thursday, I go ahead and talk about some money things. Thursday's a great day to think about money, I've been told. So I wrote about my money goals and the patterns that I have and the things that I want to accomplish. And I did a little bit of gratitude journaling as well. I was so grateful that my husband was working for us and stepping up to do more things in the week. I decided that it would be nice to show him that I support him and appreciate all his hard work. So I did add a little bit more to my to-do list that day, but it was all in appreciation to show my husband how important he is to me. So when he comes home, he has a fresh cooked meal and a clean house. So these are some of the things that I was putting in my goal journal, and then I left off Friday. And I jump right back into my pocket rings to double up my planning information. I go back and forth. They're both very important. One is basically just to grab and go, and the other one is there in case I really want to jot a lot more down, journaling, talk about my dailies, write more about my personal life or inspiration that I have. So keeping all these can sometimes feel like overwhelming, but now that I'm going to have Mondays off, I'll be able to film more, edit my videos a little bit more closely, and be able to talk and chat with you guys, all the while catching up my days and getting ready for my week. So I'm so happy for this next chapter. Thank you guys for hanging out with me, catching up, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!